This should not be a video that I have to make. This isn't a video I want to make. I want to just be a damn coaster nerd and not have to comment on shit like this. So, for anyone who does not know what I'm talking about there, I got in a little bit of a spat with theme park predictions or theme park recommendations or whatever Brandon is calling himself these days. I got in a little bit of a spat with him, okay? So, essentially, he tweeted out something saying this. Officer Tatum is one of my favorite YouTubers. Such a good, solid dude, he said. And the police officer that he's talking about in question, that's one of his favorite YouTubers, was saying the reason for the season is Jesus. So a police officer saying that the reason for the Christmas season is Jesus. I mean, the implications are very much there of what he means by that. You know, if Brandon is a Christian and he wants to say Jesus is the reason for the season himself, that's one thing. The fact that he is saying it concurring with a cop while saying that cop is one of his favorite YouTubers, that's where it gets to the point where it's crossing a line for me. Now, you know, it might be easy to say that I'm just overreacting to this whole situation and that I shouldn't be so concerned about this one thing, but the reason I'm bringing it up is this is not the first time I have seen concerning behavior from him. So, I am going to say thanks to Elon Musk's algorithm, I wasn't able to find specifically the tweet I was looking for, but also Brandon was out there blaming migrants during Hurricane Milton for his father not getting the aid that he needed to get through the hurricane. And now, you know, it's very reasonable to be upset with how the government managed Hurricane Milton. And, like, I mean, my family was certainly affected by Hurricane Milton, I'll just put it that way. But to blame migrants rather than say billionaires who do everything they can to not pay taxes or a $1 trillion military, like, when you have those things, you've got a lot of bigger fish to fry than anything that the government might be giving migrants. Now, if I'm being a realist about why he decided to actually comment on my rebuttal to his tweeting out about the sheriff, because, like, I mean, I will say this. I just want to be a coaster nerd. I tried to look past what he said about blaming migrants during Hurricane Milton. I really did try to look past that and move on, that he did that. But, like, now that he's out here concurring with a cop saying Jesus is the reason for the season, and knowing what a cop saying that, knowing where those leanings lie, it's like, there's no denying it at this point. So, the question is, why did he even bother engaging with me? Because, like, I mean, I'm a pathetic less than 150 subscribers account, and he has 6.1K followers. Like, I'm pathetic at less than 150. I can do a little bit of a self-own there, but why did he even engage with me? Maybe because in the heat of the moment, he felt like he could get an own in to say, oh, this has nothing to, like, I'm neither left-wing nor right-wing, which he's clearly right-wing based off of saying all the stuff that he said, but he thought he could get an own in because basically I, in the heat of the moment, said, oh, like, how can you be right-wing and be part of this hobby, seeing that the biggest issue we're dealing with is a gigantic corporate merger. We're dealing with monopolies. We're dealing with stuff that, you know, the right wing is very, how shall I put this, hesitant to stand up against, where we're dealing with monopolies and seeing how they behave, basically with Richard Zimmerman removing a bunch of rides without giving them any kind of proper send-off. Like, we are dealing with that on a small scale in this very community. So, I am going to ask that question and answer it because, like, I've thought about it and I know what the answer is. How could somebody be in this community and be at least as right-wing as Brandon is? Because, like, I'm not going to say that there aren't ways that are different than the issue that I'm talking about, that it's possible to be right-wing and in this community, but right-wing in the way that Brandon is right-wing and being in the coaster community, like, how does that happen? And I'm going to tell you, it's because all of these influencers, they are in bed with companies like Six Flags, with guys like Richard Zimmerman. They're in bed with guys like that. Because, like, I mean, I'm just going to say, like, Coaster Studios, I remember them after the King Dakar press release, they were going on a fucking victory lap saying, oh, we're so glad Six Flags decided to be transparent about it after it had given its last ride. That's not fucking transparency. Transparent my ass. And since Theme Park Recommendations was also reporting on those removals far out in advance, like, it does seem like they are part of the insider circle from the people at the top, that, like, the tippy top, like, they're part of that insider circle, and that has influenced their views on things because they want to stay with that tippy top circle, and there's certain views that come with being at the tippy top of a corporation generally. And, you know, if the parks give us no choice but to listen to these people about which rides are being removed so that we know which rides to go get our last rides on, and then they start sneaking in some of that right-wing politics into it with people thinking that they're just regular people and not people who are in bed with guys that are at the top of giant corporations that only care about what's best for stockholders. If people are thinking, oh, these are regular people and not like a PR arm of giant corporations. And, you know, suddenly if, say, Theme Park Recommendations or Coaster Studios or any of those YouTubers, if they're out to make a video, say, where they're going to talk about something that is political, for example, like, because like I mentioned, we are in the midst of one of the biggest corporate mergers in like just within our own industry. We are in the midst of a huge corporate merger that has huge implications on monopoly stuff. Like, we are in the midst of that. So, like, you kind of do have to comment on politics because, you know, who could break that up or is going to let it keep going? It's the politicians. So, like, you kind of have to comment on politics to talk about something like that. So, let's say that because of stuff like that, like, I've noticed that these influencers, even with everything, they still seem somewhat merge positive, which I really do not get how you could be merge positive at this point, unless you're literally a PR arm. So, if the coaster community is to be headed down the alt-right pipeline, say the same style of getting Ben Shapiro videos recommended when you're watching Minecraft playthroughs, if the coaster community is to go down the alt-right pipeline in that way with stuff like what I'm seeing from Theme Park Recommendations, you know, I'm not going down that pipeline. I'm here for you if you're someone who is different in any way and you're just someone who likes roller coasters and you want to have a safe place where you can talk about that and not have to worry about, you know, the people who go down that alt-right pipeline and the stuff that they believe. I will make sure this page is a safe place for you.